The chemo and radiotherapy treatment has begun for my colorectal cancer. The dreaded Freddy is being blasted and poisoned. Who are you looking at? How much pain is he inflicting on me? What's the big nasty machine like? What do you have to do when you're in the scary radioactive room? Am I getting sick already? When should I pee-pee and caca? How can I go out without going out? And should I read out the inspiring letter to my English teacher this week? Come this way, through the curtain of blurred colons, and find out. Welcome to my YouTooSpain diary. Video diary 15. Hi, Skatz here. Who? It's Friday, March the 29th, and this is video diary number 15. On the last episode, I was frustratingly still waiting for treatment to start after I was given a new starting date. But this week, it all kicked off at last. When? Liz took a day off from working on Monday to drive me to Malaga and cancelled the lift from friends. Well, it's only right she's the one to be there on day one. And the ever-reliable and amazing Chris went the extra mile yet again to be there to support and translate. What a lovely man he is. And he was replete with the list of allowed and disallowed foods and questions we've all been writing all week to get to the bottom of what to eat and why. Why? Oh, and how can I forget the enema? I've been banging on about it for 2 weeks now. On the Sunday night I did the big bottle, self-service, DIY. Amanda had actually offered her nursing services, but I thought there are certain things you don't want to inflict on your friends, so I adopted this position. Oh, put it away. That wasn't me, by the way, but I was sprawled on the bed just like that with a couple of towels under me just in case. Well, I did have clean sheets on the bed. It all went surprisingly well, so there's a new skill I have to put on my CV. I wasn't sure how long I lay there thinking, is that 5 minutes yet? But I got up without losing my load and reached the loo in time to let it go. Let it go, let it go. I'd been told to use 1 or 2 of the tiny tubes of enema an hour before leaving for the treatment the next day, so I tried 1. And it was almost impossible to tell whether I'd done it properly. It wasn't a clear tube like the bottle from the night before. I was waiting for a good 15 minutes for something to happen to no avail, so I used the second tube too. After about 20 minutes I did vent a small amount, but nothing like what I was expecting, so I just had to hope that I was clear enough for them to do the scan and strike Freddy the bastard successfully. You'll never take me alive. If not, what could they do? Send me home with a fresh large enema bottle and delay the treatment even more? Or mess up the radiotherapy? I was a bit worried that I'd been eating the wrong foods as well because of the confusing and contradictory list. You'd better be worried. Anyway, let me jump back in time a little bit again. On the morning of day 1, I had some food so I could take my toxic chemo tablets. Liz took a video to document it. We're both a bit tired and quiet on this video, but here it is. She recorded it vertically so that she could get me all in. Because I am actually a vertical kind of person. Not a lot of people know that. Anyway, here goes. Okay, so
I'll just do 1 then.
Men would like them, look.
You can't have these, it's dangerous.
I thought you did 3 per
go. Right, I could take 3 all in one go with water. I'll just do them 1 at a time.
I would do 1 at a time because you don't know. So just to let you know, you cannot touch these, so that's why.
No touching. Right, here we go.
So straight in and straight down with the water.
That's good. I've hardly touched anything in my mouth there.
Good. Don't touch them.
I'm so used to going pop and then they snap in half and you've got to pick them out. Yeah. I'll have to have some tweezers for that.
Last one. Well, it's not the last one. Last one of this dose.
There we go. That one only touched my tongue.
Okay. Good. Well done.
3.
Scary.
That was slightly scary. It was difficult to squeeze out each tablet without touching the underside, and I felt like I was getting some of the tablet powder on my fingers, toxic stuff, so I washed my hands thoroughly after that. Liz said I should keep doing that regularly because the drug could seep through my pores. Eek! I could be spreading toxicity.
I love a bit of toxic.
Right, let's jump forward to the appointment then. We got called in to see the nurse first to take me through the instructions, which was good. He was the same nurse who'd given me the food list a few weeks ago, so it was the perfect opportunity to ask all of those questions. We made the most of it, and we were in there for about 45 minutes and got a really good understanding of what it's all about. I'm going to tell you about that in a minute because I want you all to do me a huge favour and help me come up with recipes using only the bare number of bland ingredients.
I bet you can't.
But let's go back to what the nurse was telling me first of all. The nurse gave me a number and told me that when I go into the treatment area, there'd be a post box on the door, and I just pop the number in there and get called in. And then they'd give me a little card with my special number on it and a barcode, so I could do the same each treatment day without going to reception. That's a really good system. He also said I'd see a doctor each Monday after the first week and a nurse on Wednesday.
Where's my nurse?
So when I'd done the thing with the card and waited and been called into the treatment area, there's some changing rooms on the right and some desks with computers on. On the left, I was given the robe thing and some things to go around my socks and told to strip down to just t-shirt and socks. And I had to keep a hold of this robe and the sock covers to bring them in each time. That's quite a green policy. I like that.
Green? I'll give you green.
Then I got led through the huge metal door. It's about 50 or 60 centimetres thick. It's enormous, must be really heavy. And that was to go into the scary radioactivity room with the big expensive machine. So I climbed onto the table or bed, I'm not sure what you call it. There's a block to put your knees over and a block at the end with feet-shaped indentations, and there's a soft block at the other end for your head. The other end? It's a hen, you know. So they settled me down onto that and undid the robe, lifted up my t-shirt so I was bare from the nipples down. They're all very matter-of-fact and there's no time or reason to get embarrassed really, so I got used to it very quickly.
You dirty bastard.
Then everyone but me in the room just fecked off and I heard the door close and I was left with just my thoughts. And those thoughts were, don't move! I just focused on my very shallow breathing because I didn't want to move Freddie. That's very important, especially after the first set of movements of the machine, because that would be the scan that allows them to set the radiation zapper to hit Freddie and only Freddie.
Freddie.
The machine did 3 passes. Each time a red light came on the wall of the room and equipment whirled around me. I'm fairly sure the round one with the glass square in the middle of it was the dangerous one. It was really close up compared to the rest, so that would make sense because they want it to be really accurate.
Say cheese.
The whole operation was over in about 5 or 10 minutes, which was great. And then the big door opened and the technician came in and reset the machine and then told me it was all done. And I stepped down and covered myself up.
Thank God for that.
And went out to change into my clothes again. And that was that. No pain at all. The nurse had said I might get redness and soreness and some heat, not necessarily straight away. So I should put on my skin above Freddie, on top of where Freddie is, one of 3 products that they mentioned, and aloe vera was on the list, so I didn't actually bother remembering what the other 2 were because I have a huge tub of that stuff that I use as aftershave and after sun, and I put it on other areas of dry skin. It's really, really useful, and it kind of dries out really well, so it doesn't leave you all oily and slimy and get on your clothes.
Slimy. is my middle name.
And that was it for day one, really, and it was just as easy the other 2 days. Just 3 days altogether this week. Yes, well, it's Semana Santa. That's Easter week to you. And in Spain, the bank holiday is the Thursday and Friday. So no treatment on those days and none on the weekends either. So I've got 4 days off. No radiotherapy or chemo on those days. Yay! That's actually a really good thing because I was pretty tired by the end of Wednesday. So having 5 days of treatment on week 1 might have been a bit tough. So, how have I felt this week? Well, should I tell you about the food list first? Yes, I should, because I really need your help, please.
Help!
So, here goes. We found out that the principle behind the diet is not actually about eating healthy foods to give your body the right nutrients to fight the cancer. No, it's not the chemo diet. It's specifically for the radiotherapy. It's to keep the colon and rectum clear of obstructions and keep it from moving about, so that the radiotherapy machine can very clearly and accurately zap Freddy without hitting any other parts of me and risking me getting cancer elsewhere. It's very important, as the nurse stressed.
I'll give you stress.
When it says no exciting drinks with caffeine in, that now makes a lot of sense. So it was all worthwhile me going through the horrible cold turkey of caffeine withdrawal.
There's a monster inside you.
And when it says no fizzy drinks or cruciferous fibrous vegetables, that is of course to stop gas from distending the colon. So all of the no list was about those effects and avoiding irritating the walls of the colon and the rectum and making sure that all of the waste products of eating were soft and smooth, which also means no deep frying of food, maybe a little shallow frying, but only in the sense of gently browning meat before adding the rest of the ingredients. Other than that, no fat or oils, no barbecuing, no lactose, no cheese apart from fresh cheese, no nuts,
You nutter.
no cereals, no beans or pulses, no spices or anything hot, and basically no flour, because that needs to be, well, tends to be mixed with oils, so can't be making any sauces unless it's tomato sauces. And I have to make sure as well that I eat slowly, no gulping, because that's going to bring air down with it. I've got to chew everything really well and sip a little bit of water with my food. All of which is quite against my nature. I mean, it's really against my nature. I'm famous for eating like a lion ripping apart a wildebeest.
Nice.
Oh, and of course no alcohol, so I can't even drink to forget that the food is so bland and soft. So those are the things to avoid. So here's a little bit of a list of foods that I can definitely have. Beef, lamb, chicken and turkey. Those are the basic meats, but remove the fat. I can have seafood and fish, both white and blue, fresh and tinned, but not in oil. I can have peeled potatoes, peeled courgettes, onions and leeks. Now it's got to be the white parts of the leek, cooked until soft. All of those things cooked until soft, and carrots. Dried and fresh herbs are okay. If you're putting them in stews and that kind of thing, that's good. As I said, tomatoes are okay, but with no skin or pips, so you can just use the juice for sauces. Fresh cheese is okay. So that's cottage cheese and Philadelphia, those kind of things that you get in tubs. Just make sure there's nothing else in them, but none of the hard cheeses, no other cheese at all really. Stews and soups are a good choice, but I don't really want to be having them all the time, so if you can think of anything else, that would be good. Fresh white bread is okay in small quantities, but you know, not brown bread, no whole grains, no bits in it, basically.
I'm hungry. Give me sugar.
And that's about it. Can you make something out of that lot and suggest some recipes? Send me ideas as soon as you can.
You do that. I'll destroy you.
Some things to remember: because of my appointment and tablet taking schedule, you do have to bear in mind that I need to have 3 meals a day. One at 9:30 in the morning when I'm only half awake, so I don't want to have to be preparing and cooking loads of food for long. So maybe something pre-prepared for that. Then I've got to have 1 meal in the middle of the afternoon, I'd say, somewhere in between those other 2 meals, and one at 9:30 in the evening. Well, I only have about half an hour to cook after getting back from the hospital, and this one can't be too big a meal because I'll be going to sleep not long afterwards.
Rock-a-bye, baby, on the treetop.
So, as you've seen, there are lots of rules there. It's a bit strict. So a meal isn't something I can just throw together or grab something out of the fridge and eat when I'm peckish. So I challenge any one of you to come up with some tasty recipes.
Tasty.
Chris and I have been talking about creating a cookbook for people undergoing radiotherapy and selling it to raise money for the GoFundMe page. So if you come up with some good recipes, you might be featured in the book.
When will I be famous?
Okay, next up, how have I felt this week? Well, almost as soon as I took the chemo tablets on Monday morning, I felt a bit weird and sickly, and I was really short of energy. The weather wasn't helping either. It's been grey and wet and windy, and there was the Kalima dust in the air blown over from Morocco, so that wasn't very nice on the lungs.
I'm good at making people sick.
So I spent 2.5 days feeling, well, just sick enough to be put off my food, but not sick enough to be sick, basically. Kind of the stage 1 of my 4 stages of throwing up for beginners. I won't describe the other 3 stages, they're not very pleasant.
You disgust me.
Liz suggested asking the nurse on Wednesday, but he wasn't there, so we asked the receptionist and showed her the tablets I'd been given a few weeks ago that I thought were for heartburn. But she said I should be taking those every day. I'm not sure if she meant every day that I'm taking the chemo tablets or just every day. There are only 28 tablets in there, and the instructions on the leaflet say 2 per day. So I guess I'll be needing another prescription in a couple of weeks, whether it's 1 or 2 a day. I'm going to be asking the doctor or the nurse next week to confirm all of this, because obviously the receptionist isn't really qualified to know. Anyway, I took a tablet when I got home after eating and taking the chemo tablets, and it worked. My sick feeling has almost completely gone.
Don't worry, son. I'll make it come back.
So what else do I need to tell you? Oh yes, it was really nice to see the same people each day when I go for treatment. Obviously, we're all in the same boat. HMS cancer. So there's a sense of gentle camaraderie there. There's not an awful lot of chatting, just some knowing nods and smiles, which is quite lovely.
Shut it.
Oh, and I have to remember to go to the loo just before the treatment, because after the first one, the technician came up and rattled off something in Spanish that contained 2 obvious words that I recognised: caca and pee-pee. I didn't catch the rest of it, so Chris had to translate. Apparently my bladder was distended. It's the story of my life for the last few years. I thought it was just my prostate giving out, but blood tests have shown my prostate to be okay. But the recent scans do show that it's a bit enlarged, but only the usual amount for someone my age.
He's 90 bleeding 4.
What Liz and I think is happening is that Freddie is pushing on my bladder. It feels like I need a number 1 or a number 2 or both.
That's a number 3.
Very regularly, even just after I've been. I'm very much looking forward to getting rid of Freddie the bastard, so I can go for more than an hour without running off to go to the loo all the time. I even had to go to the loo before I had my enema, just before having the enema. It just sounds ridiculous, but that was just in case when I relaxed to put the spout of the bottle up there inside me, I didn't want to shat myself. Shat myself?
He shat himself.
Other tidbits of news now. I was told not to wear tight pants or underpants because Freddie can't stand the pressure.
Dum 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 da da dum dum. What do you mean I can't stand the pressure?
And it might irritate my skin too. So if you see me on the streets, I might be in my slobby clothes. Yes, I might see if I can find some colourful ones to cheer me up.
You ponce.
Oh, shall I tell you the most conflicting pieces of advice I've been given by the nurse? He said, make sure I get to go out and walk, especially after meals. It'll help the digestion and get the system working as best it can. Then later he said, whatever you do, don't go out in the sun. So how can I go out without going out? It's not a very cloudy country in general. I mean, it is at the moment, but not in general. So I'm not allowed to get any sunlight on my skin because that is radiation. And that because the radiation can go through some clothes as well. So I've got to be really careful with that. I do have a really good hat that blocks UVA and UVB radiation, so that's a start, but it's not going to cover up all of me. It's not a sombrero, well, not a Mexican one anyway, but sombrero means hat in Spanish, so it is a sombrero. I'm hoping I'll be able to go out after the radiotherapy is done. I can't remember what they said, or at least not too long afterwards. If I have to stay indoors all year, that's going to be difficult and a bit of a shame.
Everything's gone dark.
I did say I'd read out the letter I sent to my English teacher. I think I'll leave it for this week though. I've rabbited on for long enough, and even though it's Easter, you're not supposed to rabbit on too much. I'll let you get on with your Easter celebrations anyway.
Happy bleeding Easter, scumbags.
So that's really all for this week. Next week I'll have even more exciting things to tell you. Tune in next Friday to find out with another thrilling episode of Feck Off Freddy.
Shut it, you toe rag.
Keep your fingers and toes crossed, you lovely people. And as always, raise your drinking receptacle with me.
Still alive.
And of course, let's do the cancer dance.